Bloomberg Audio Studios. Podcasts, radio, news.
Well, one of the reasons offered by the administration as to go to war with Iran is potentially regime change. A lot of folks are asking, is that possible? Who would ignite that regime change and who perhaps would assume power? I think our next guest has some views on that. Ali Safavi, he is a member of Iran's Parliament in Exile, the National Council of Resistance of Iran. And he's also a president of Near Eastern Policy Research, which is a consulting and policy analysis firm in Washington, D.C. Ali, thanks so much for joining us here. Is regime change possible with these events in Iran over the last several days?
First of all, good to be with you. Well, regime change is indeed possible. There's no doubt about it, because you have a nation that has been suppressed for 47 years. You have had 100,000 dissidents of the main Iranian opposition, the Mujahideen Khalq, executed by this regime. And you saw this past January, thousands were slaughtered. And of course, we have seen the same thing happening in 2022, 2019, 2017. And yes, the Iranian people are very determined, despite the cost that it has exacted on them, to overthrow this regime. But that said, we as the resistance movement that has been fighting this regime for 47 years, and the previous regime, the Shah's regime, since 1965, do not believe that change will come from the air. Change will not come through foreign intervention. Change must come from within Iran, on the ground, indigenous, organic, by the Iranian people, and by a very potent and structured resistance within Iran itself. But yes, change is indeed possible. I think the Iranian regime is at the end of the line. Their economy is bankrupt. Their currency is in a free fall. There's massive unemployment, systemic corruption, and
right.
The regional policy has been defeated. So yes, indeed, change is at hand.
So President Trump called on the Iranian people to rise up and topple their government. Do you expect that the Iranian people are prepared to do that?
I believe that the Iranian people are very independent-minded people, as has been demonstrated throughout our history. And they're not going to rise up or sit down on a call of anybody from the outside. They will decide to rise up when they think the time is right. Obviously, at this current moment, with the bombs dropping all over Iran, Iranian people are understandably careful not to do anything to get themselves into harm's way. After all, there's a war ongoing. But as Mrs. Rajavi said the other day, that they should try to take care of especially those who've been injured. And she also called on all parties involved to exercise restraint when it comes to Iranian infrastructure and civilian areas. And yes, they will rise up, but in a methodic way. And this has to be organized. To expect that when bombs are dropping for millions of Iranians to come to the streets, it's just very unrealistic. No similar situation you have seen people coming up. But once this conflict subsides, and given that the Iranian regime is weakened tremendously with the loss of Khamenei, which, as Mrs. Rajavi said yesterday, means the end of the religious tyranny in Iran, they will come out, but it has to be in an organized fashion. Nothing will happen spontaneously.
In what ways has the current conflict altered the domestic political or social environment inside Iran?
Well, a very good question. Well, I think it has demonstrated to the people of Iran that the possibility to toppling this regime is much greater than any other time in the history of our nation. And it has also shown that the Iranian people, in order to topple this regime, they must get organized. And I think if you look at the trend of events in Iran, particularly since 2017, you see that happening. Previously, there were protests by, let's say, some sectors of Iranian society. But what happened in January you had basically all walks of life in Iran, from students to bazaar merchants to oil workers to farmers, nurses, you name it, were out on the streets. And this wasn't just in one or two cities, it was in 400 different cities in 31 provinces. And interestingly, the slogans were all universal. One, death to the dictator. Two, down with the oppressor, whether the Shah or the leader, meaning that the Iranian people, having learned the lessons of the 1979 revolution, when an imposter like Khomeini came in from abroad and stole that revolution, they are now very clear-eyed. They know exactly what they want. They don't want relics of the past, and they don't want the current regime. They want to look to the future, which is a democratic future, a Republican form of government, which is why Mrs. Rajavi and the NCRI announced the formation of a provisional government that would hold free and fair elections in Iran within 6 months of the mullah's overthrow to elect a constituent assembly whose members, elected by the Iranian people, would draft a new constitution for a new republic and lead Iran into the 21st century toward a glorious future, which we are very hopeful for and we have fought for 47 years. So this is a very realistic objective, very realistic future, and it will come. It just takes time, it takes effort, it takes sacrifice, and Iranian people are ready. They're ready, and of course the organized resistance also is ready. Bear in mind that before the U.S. attacked Khamenei's compound, a week earlier, the MEK resistance units attacked 250 of them, and they had no drones and they had no Tomahawk missiles. They attacked it on the ground, while of course we lost about 100 and some arrested, but the remaining members of that 250 assault force returned safely. So there is an organized opposition to do this.
Mr. Safavi, the Ayatollah Khomeini was targeted and killed by the U.S. military. How important of an event is that, and what is next for the clerical leadership of Iran, given that assassination?
Well, that was a very, very important development. In a sense, it beheaded the regime. It eliminated, if you will, the linchpin of the clerical establishment. And I do not believe, despite the pretenses that you see these days, a three-man council trying to appoint his successor, that's not going to happen. Khamenei's stature and power emerged for him being at the helm for 39 years. Nobody can replace him. And I think in the weeks ahead, you will see some sort of, if you will, I don't want to call it disintegration, but fragmentation within the regime itself. And of course, to the extent that the organized opposition and the Iranian people can get better organized, take actions that is needed to be taken, I think change will come. Change will come. And I must say that a firm policy vis-a-vis the Iranian regime is helpful to the Iranian people. Remember that for 47 years, the West offered concessions to this regime. Even now, some countries are not willing to call for the overthrow of the Iranian regime. The British haven't yet put the IRGC on the terrorist list. And so I think that was a watershed moment. And we are now in an entirely new phase, a new, if you will, strategic situation.
Yep. Ali, thank you so much, sir. Ali Safavi, he is the member of Iran's parliament in exile. That is the National Council of Resistance of Iran, with the reporting from what may come next for the leadership of Iran. But again, the military operation continues, and Mr. Safavi is saying this will take time.